Hi. Hi, Silas.
Hi, Laurie. How are you?
I'm good. Thanks. Happy
Yeah.
to be here with you. How are you? You've not been well and
Yeah, I'm okay now, but I had, I think probably, like a summer flu, head cold.
mm,
So I was laid low for about 4 days, 4 or 5 days. Um, but in the present circumstances, it's immediately very worrying. As soon as you get anything
you're
that
right.
has to do with, aches and pains and respiratory stuff. But thankfully I've got a very good friend she's a surgeon working at the NHS, and she lives nearby, and she was able to get hold of one of the 20-minute tests for COVID-19. So she came over and did a test, and all of that was fine. But that's your immediate worry in the present circumstance. I don't know what it's going to be like in the winter when people start to get colds and flus.
Yeah.
It's going to be, like people are just going to be scrabbling for tests and
Mm,
or worrying.
or worrying.
Yeah, but I'm fine now. I've recovered. It was actually quite good to have a few days just prone in bed. I did a bit of reading and a lot of sleeping, so
Oh, nice.
good. And how are you? You had a bit of a break.
I did have a bit of a break. Had a nice week in Wales and did some hiking and entertained a storm and
Yeah,
it was all good.
you
Yeah.
feel recalibrated.
Yeah. A
Yeah,
bit recalibrated and
yeah,
it's nice to have some greenery and fresh air in the coast
yeah,
of Wales and hills and mountains and things. It's
yeah.
beautiful.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Good.
So I before we jump in on a new topic today, I just want to check in with the last couple. So last time we had this process kind of work,
Yeah.
looking within and had this thing on your back, that's
Mhm.
was it a bat?
Yes.
Yes. It's
Yeah,
a
yeah. It
memory
felt
bat.
like yeah. A big bat with big black wings. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, that was
I-
an amazing. It was an amazing session to do actually, because it really uh, it just shifted my energy.
mm,
And the next day I was feeling a lot more positive. Actually, I mean, there is still some sadness there about the state of things and about my friend who died. But the despair shifted.
mm,
It was really good to just kind of go inside and look at where that pain was, and as soon as you look at it and face it, it diminishes.
yeah.
Its hold over you kind of let go. It felt like things let go, and I felt a lot more positive. I suppose life is always these ups and downs, and I think you just have to recognize that that's how things are, rather than it being one level.
Mm,
uh, and you know that when things are really down, you can come back up again, and you will do. But it was a really good session. I felt very clear after that and found more focus. So yeah, it was just great clearing. Actually, I was quite. I do process work with clients, and you forget how effective it is and how rapid it is to actually name something physically, name an emotion physically, where it is in the body, and look at that. Yeah,
mm,
great. It's
yeah.
really.
Is there anything from that experience or your time sitting with it afterwards that we want to remember before moving forward?
Um, I mean, one of the things that came out of that, which was really interesting, was the thoughts and feelings about the kind of political situation around us. And I talked about looking at some possible kind of readings of excerpts from books that are about my kind of my stance or my passion
Yeah.
around these subjects. And I did some recording, because I've just been playing around with the recordings and creating samples, and not specifically for use on the website, but just as practice. And it was really good to find that voice.
Mm,
There were 3 books that I picked up on, and read some excerpts from them, and that was really interesting, because that connected me to my voice.
Yeah.
what I felt that I want to say,
Mm.
as opposed to connecting me to the voices, that I think the audience want to hear
Right.
in samples, or, like reading other people's work, and you're voicing other people's books. This was me voicing books that they have a point of view that is my point of view.
Yeah.
And it was really, really good to do that. Actually, it felt, as an exercise, it felt really good. I may include one of the, I may upload one of the samples. But an exercise, it felt really good because it just felt like I was expressing myself.
Nice.
There was a kind of different passion behind it.
Yeah.
So that was one of the things that I took away from that. It was really good. But also, I think the main thing that I took away was just the memory of that session. When I came to the session, I was overwhelmed and inundated. And what I remember of the session is that things can shift, and they can shift quickly.
Yeah.
You don't have to be taken over by something, And that memory has stuck with me, actually, because there have been some times since then where, a couple of times where I've felt a little overwhelmed by things. Anxiety tends to get me in the early morning. I tend to wake up sometimes. I'm anxious about things. And I've been able to lie in bed and just recognize that this is something that's come and grabbed a hold of me, but it's not me, and that almost kind of meditation, lying in bed, has helped me get back to sleep, and the anxiety is dissipated. So I carry a memory from that session, which is really good.
Good. That's great. Anxiety will pass. Feelings will pass.
Yeah, indeed. Great. Yeah, everything is transient.
Yeah.
The good and the bad.
The good and the bad. Right, we need to be attached to those good things too, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. I think it's important to recognize that. Otherwise, I think one has expectations of everything always being good. It's one of the things that death always teaches me. Was there, and there have been a few deaths around me recently. A few people have died, and it's just a reminder that everything is transient.
Yeah.
And not to have expectations that we should have things the way that we want them all of the time.
Right. I'm just capturing that because it seems important to possibly come back to from time to time. Everything is transient.
Yeah.
Great. Thank you.
Thank you. That was a really good session last time.
Okay. And the time before, we started with some work on vision. We had the house and the barn and things like that, and the fence. And is there anything that we didn't complete that last time because we went with what you were present to, which was the death of your friend and all of that. So I think we came back to it at the end of that session, but I just want to check in. Is there anything hanging out with that vision, something you want to do with it?
Actually, I've been using it quite a lot. Actually, it's been really helpful in terms of focus and reminding myself of why I'm doing this.
Okay.
Why I'm doing this, this work with the home studio and learning about voiceovers. Because so what I have been doing with my partner is visioning a lot about where we want to go in a few years' time. And we did an exercise together, high dreams, low dreams exercise, which was really good. Just kind of drawing our dream scenario. So we sat down and we kind of dreamt up.
Literally drawing.
Yeah, literally drawing things. Just little doodles. And we did this before when we moved to the house that we're in now a few years ago. We did a high dreams, low dreams, and it was really effective for both of us. So we've done that again, just kind of, and starting to get specific about what sort of animals we want on our homestead, how big we want it to be, what we want it to look like, where we might want it to be, and then looking at things that could possibly go wrong, what's affordable, what's not affordable, and so on and so forth. And that has led us to do a bit of research. We started to research properties and we started to kind of research animal husbandry and, you know, what's realistic and what's not realistic. And that's now a kind of ongoing thing. And it's lovely to have that conversation between us, rather than saying, oh, we want to do that thing.
Right.
Kind of bring it back from, okay, if we move, say, in, you know, 4 to 5 years time, which feels realistic, how can we roll that back from the dream then to what we can do today? And one of the really good things about doing that is, it, like I said, it keeps me focused about why I'm doing this voiceover work.
Yeah.
You know, and that gives me a kind of an impetus.
Okay.
What I want to do is create a source of income that I can do in that scenario. So it's been really good to have that vision and hold it and play around with it. And I've been collecting some pictures for collaging and stuff. So yeah, I've been expanding on that. It's been really good.
Okay. Okay, great. So no, it was very much a feeling exercise and not like some statements, so, you know, and I just want to make sure you got what you had asked for.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, totally. And like I said, it's actually going back to the notes. It's really interesting. It was a feeling exercise and just kind of tapping into that feeling whilst, you know, building a more physical vision or a more intentional vision.
Yeah. Super. Okay, good. Yeah. So I feel like those things have landed now.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So today, where do you want to go? What's the journey we're on today?
Well, because I was, you know, ill last week for a little bit. I worked over the weekend, and I'm working all this week on this ongoing landscaping job. This week's quite
Those lucky people.
Yeah. Well, it's good for me, and they just keep coming up with bits and pieces for me to do around the house and stuff, which is really good. But my body's a little weary, and also I just feel like I need to consolidate a lot of the work that we have done and a lot of the work that I've been doing on the studio. So next week, I'm taking the whole week off next week to kind of recalibrate myself, but also just to focus in on the studio work. One of the things I want to report, by the way, is that I've done, since we last saw each other, I've done a few more lessons, and I've been learning so much more on the studio. Excellent. And now I am really enjoying it.
Oh, good.
I feel that, I kind of the other day when I was playing around with the computer, and I was putting loads of background sounds and effects on the voice and stuff behind one of the samples that I've created. I suddenly took stock of it and went, wow, I'm really enjoying this. And all of the fear of technology has dissipated. Excellent. I'm now into something that I really enjoy doing. And each time I come across something I can't do, rather than kind of feel like, oh, I can't do this, I go, oh, great, that's another question to ask Ben when we next have a session. You know, and I ask him, how do I do this? And he shows me how to do it, and I go and I practice it. So that's one of the things I want to report, is there's been a real shift in attitude around this.
Fantastic.
Which is great.
And I can even see it on you. You're just lit up and like, wow. And
yeah. It was really funny. I had done the voice recording on one track to one of the samples, and then my partner was at her desk in the kitchen working, because she works from home at the moment, and I sat on the sofa with my headphones on, and I had downloaded all of these effects, and I was overlaying the voice recording with music and sound effects and some reverb, and I was playing around with all these things, and I was so excited I kept giggling. I kept giggling because what I was doing was so much fun. I mean, it was a lot of, and it was a funny piece that I was doing. And at one point I looked up at her, and she was looking at me and just laughing. And I took the headphones off and I was like, what? She goes, you are having so much fun on that computer. You know, and, you know, it was a really, really nice moment, actually, of recognizing that I have moved on from the first session where we talked about the fear I have around technology.
Yeah.
So next week I have, I've set aside the whole week to be able to, to get some recording work done. So I'd like to just spend this session setting some goals and intentions.
Okay.
And kind of drawing in on all of the work that we've done to get some sort of some goals in, and have something to focus in on next week.
Okay.
If that sounds like a good thing to do.
Sure.
Yeah.
Definitely. Specifically about recording studio, and there's not other things you're weaving in.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So knowing, I'm going big picture.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing you've got that vision out there,
Mm.
that you're heading there eventually in a few years, and every day is a step towards that, and every activity you do is a step towards that. So knowing that this is about fun also, and about your values, yeah, and about building a business, yeah. Anything occur to you as I just named those things?
Immediately, I connect to where I'm going. You talk about knowing where you're going, and having fun with it. As soon as I connect to where I'm going, and I think about having fun with it along the way, then creating a business follows on from that.
Okay.
And that's very different. If I immediately think about creating a business, I go, oh, I get overwhelmed.
Right.
I find that with coaching as well. It's kind of interesting, that thing of, I've got to pay attention to my business. As soon as this voice comes into my head from the Muppets Christmas Carol, Sam the Eagle, business. Have you ever seen the Muppets Christmas Carol?
No, I haven't.
Oh, okay. Well, Sam the Eagle, he's a businessman. He keeps talking about business. And that voice comes into my head. If I think about creating a business, it feels too serious and overwhelming. If I think about where I'm going to with this, supporting the life that I want in the future, and I think about the fun that I'm having with the studio, that's a much easier way to slip into the business, So
yeah, okay.
That's what comes to mind when you talk about that.
Okay, so next week is a step towards that. Yeah. So big picture, what do you want to accomplish next week? What is it about next week?
What I would really like to do is get to the point where I am on these two major websites where you can get audiobook work.
Okay.
And what that entails is creating some samples and putting those samples up on the website. Well, joining the websites first of all, putting the samples up, and then creating some content. And the content is really just about, creating information about myself, essentially a small CV, voiceover work that I have done. So, uploading a photograph and so on and so forth. But the samples is a thing that I need to work on myself.
Okay. How many samples do you think you need?
I think realistically, given the time that they take, it would be good to head for 4 to 6. I would like to get to 6.
Okay. So ultimate goal 6, yeah?
Ultimate goal 6. I think that's a real stretch. I think 4 is probably more realistic. So I'll say 4, and if I get further than that, I'll be really happy.
Okay. And given what you've already been playing with over the last few months, do you have anything that qualifies for one of those 4 to 6?
Yes, I have a couple that I've been kind of practicing with that I think would be really good samples to do, because one of them is a straight read, which shows my voice very well. You have to kind of sell exactly where your voice lands. So, knowing that my voice is very kind of authoritative and warm, I've got a sample from a book. It's not the sample that I took, I think, is probably not the best section of the book, so I can look through the book and find something else. But I've been playing around with that book, And then there's another one that I've been playing with, which is a children's book, which involves a lot of characters, or animal characters, and different kinds of voices. So that was going to show a range of accents and, you know, and different character voices, which I think is really fun, because I can start to bring in pitch and reverb, sort of the, you know, they're called plugins, two of the plugins that I can use on the computer. So those are the two things that I know, and then I want to try and pick out 4 others. I've got a whole bunch of different samples that possibilities that I've been looking at.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So those 2 I can start off with straight away, and then it's a question of doing some more reading, you know, finalizing the passages, and then getting to recording those. And then I've got a good, you know, 4 to 6. Each website just requires 1 or 2. If I've got a range to play with, and then I can just keep, if I nail that, I think, then I can keep building on those samples, because you can always take a sample out and drop another one into the website.
Right. So let me check. Each website wants 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And you want those to be different?
Yes.
Okay. And
they, you know, you have to have 1 sample. You can have 2. And then you can just keep changing if you want. So,
right.
You know, I think it's good to have a library of samples, which I will build over time. And of course, each time I make a sample, then I'm playing with different technology.
Sure.
But I think next week it would be good to have at least 4, possibly 6 by the end of the week.
Okay. So for the website and beyond.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, great. And how do you work on these? Do you do one, are they sequential? Like you can say, okay, I'm going to work on this children's book, and you get that and you find the passages, and then you practice the voice, you know, and then you record it, and then you go, okay, now I'm going to look at this other straight read, and, or do you choose them all ahead and they kind of parallel?
Well, I don't know, actually, because I haven't done this yet.
Okay.
You know, what I've been doing is learning the technology, and I've been kind of playing around with these possible samples in learning the technology. But as you ask that question, immediately I think there's a practicality involved, which is that I have to recreate the home studio. So there's the studio on the computer, on the laptop, which is the sound card that I'm recording on. But then there's the actual physical studio, which is the little bedroom that I'm working in. And having done some work there some weeks ago, when I got a job and had to kind of work in that room, I've taken it all down, reverted it to a bedroom, and now I got to put it back up again. So what that involves is soundproofing the entire room. It's a small room, but I've got soundproof acoustic foam, and I hang duvets, block out the window. I put a frame outside the window with a sheet over it so the rain doesn't hit the glass. And so it creates a dead sound.
Yeah.
Or at least not a dead sound, but a completely dead space. So you know, the sound floor is absolutely minimal. That is about, to put that together again, I would say that's about half a day's work to get everything, you know,
okay,
to that thing. So once I've done that, what I want to be doing is recording the voices in there, so that, you know, the track with the actual voiceover on. So I think that is the thing that I should do first of all. Record each voice track, and then once those voice tracks are down, all of the sound effects and music and stuff that I do underneath that can be done, you know, just on the computer, sitting at a desk, or sitting on because that's all internally in the computer. That's not going through the microphone.
Right.
Does that make sense? So
yes.
It feels like it would probably be a good thing to set the studio up at the beginning of the week, spend some time getting all of the passages and editing the passages as I need to, because each sample wants to be no more than about 3 minutes, and sometimes, you know, I need to edit the book to make the sample sound best, if that makes sense. Yeah. So I think that's the pattern in which it should take. Create the room, and then and then nail the actual passages, the literary passages, then record the voice, and then towards the end of the week start playing around with effects and putting music on and so on and so forth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So it is kind of a parallel thing, anyway. Like you get the studio set up, and if you like you could identify, even in this moment, you could say these 6 things are the things I want to do. I know, yeah, like that, yeah. And then you would go and perhaps one day or 2 days just record all the voices for all those different things. Is that right?
Yes, exactly. That's what it feels like. Yeah, because what I'm essentially doing is working with a studio at home.
Yes.
Ordinarily, what one would do with these things is hire out a studio and have a sound technician do this. But at the moment, because the industry is pretty much closed down, and I don't want to be doing this myself. So what I would do is book into a studio in town,
right,
record the voices,
yes,
and then later play around with all of the effects. So I'm kind of doing what I'm doing that at home.
Mm-hmm.
So if I think of it in those terms, actually, I think about how would I go about this if I was using a studio technician. This time I'm using myself as a studio technician. That's the order in which I would do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in terms of ending up with ideally 6 tracks at the end of the week.
Yeah.
So I'm just hearing you say that you want to work on all 6, like.
Yes, I think that would be a really good thing to do. Whether or not I'll get to the end of all 6 by the end of the week, I don't know. But I think that's a really good. I think that kind of think big, and then I can push towards that. Mm-hmm. So the beginning of the week would be. I think what would be really good is to get all of the 6 voices down by the end of the week.
Okay.
And then I can start to work on putting effects on those.
Okay.
Coloring them with the music and the different effects like reverb and pitch and sound effects and stuff.
Okay. So
that could be kind of ongoing work.
Okay. So you at least finish the 4 by the end of the week, and you might have 2 more that you reverb and all that for.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Okay, so how does that feel? You get your studio set up in the beginning of the week. You get all your passages organized and record the voices for all 6, and then you play with them.
That feels really good. That feels like a stretch.
Okay.
And I know what I'm doing with myself actually here. I'm setting quite a big goal, so that if I get halfway there, I will have created more than if I just say the safe goal.
Mm-hmm.
But that feels good. That feels like a stretch, and already I can I feel like it's going to be a busy week, which is great.
Okay.
What I want to do actually, because I'm going to be doing this at home, is set myself a big goal so that I'm stretching myself, so that I'm not going to be distracting myself. If it's an easy thing, I think that I will probably go like, oh, it's time to have a long lunch, whereas this way around, I'm like, oh God, I got a lot to do. I need to actually make this week really work, which feels good.
Good. Okay.
Really good.
Okay. So at the end of the week, you'll have at least 4, possibly 6.
Yeah.
Pieces that you can use for those websites.
Yeah. That would be.
Also, you said at first that you want to be on those major websites. You actually want to upload these things and put your stuff on those websites by the end of Friday, or.
Yes. Yeah. So I've also got to spend. I've got to spend maybe half a day creating content for the websites.
Okay.
And then I've got to get onto them, load them up, and put at least 1, but I want it to be 2 samples on each site.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And when is it best for you to create that content?
I think probably by the end of the week, when I've got the samples. I will have to have at least 2 samples completely finished. I would like to have 4 samples completely finished. So I think it's best to leave that to the end of the week, maybe, even like Friday afternoon or Saturday morning to create that content.
Okay.
Loaded by the end of the weekend.
Great. And how much detail, how fine of what's the word I want to use? How much detail do you want in your plans? Do you want to say Monday I want to do this, and Tuesday I want to do that, and Wednesday, like have daily goals?
I don't want to. I think I want to have pretty rough detail, actually, because I think there wants to be some flexibility. I don't want to get myself into a tangle if I don't absolutely hit those goals. But now, as we're talking about it, this is really good to plan it out. As we're talking about it, I can kind of see how the week will unfold. So Monday morning, set the room up. Monday afternoon, Tuesday morning, pick out those samples, start to edit them. Get recording by Tuesday afternoon through to Wednesday evening, and hopefully get 4 to 6 voice tracks down, and then spend Thursday, Friday editing and putting effects, and then maybe kind of Friday afternoon into Saturday creating the content for the websites, and then uploading stuff by Sunday. That feels like a good kind of run, but I don't want to set myself specific goals in case there's hiccups along the way, or I feel like I need to change things around, or I might just want to get into, for example, nailing the content of a sample and doing the voice before I go on to the next one. Right. So that feels like a good kind of rough journey.
Good. And it feels realistic. So you have about a day and a half to record all the voice tracks, and sounded like about a day or day and a half to do all the playing around afterwards.
Yeah, probably a couple of days of editing and putting sound effects on top. Yeah.
And that feels right.
Yeah, that feels about right. Yeah.
You have 4 to 6. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
This is really good. It's getting me very excited, actually. I've got my whole week is planned out, and it's just doing voiceover stuff, and it feels really exciting.
Yes. Great. This is your new business.
Yeah. It's really good to plan it out in this way, actually.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Well, anything else you want for getting your week really set and ready to go? Anything you need to clear out of the way to make sure you have all that, for example, or anything else?
No, I've cleared the week out. The only thing that can be a hiccup is if an audition comes along, but at this point, it's very unlikely. I mean, this is always my life. I plan things out, and if my agent calls and says, I need you to do a self-tape, then everything else has to get put on hold until that happens. But I think under the present circumstances, that's unlikely to happen. So I feel good about next week, actually. As we're talking about this, I feel myself inside naturally connecting to the bigger picture, and also naturally connecting to kind of values, and feeling that this is just connecting to what's going on inside of me. It feels very exciting. So that feels good. And it also feels really good to spell it out and state it to you, so that I have, I have accountability here.
Right.
Yeah.
Will you let me know after you've put those bits up on those websites?
Yeah, definitely. I will. I'll check in with you on Sunday night.
Okay.
And let you know how I've got on.
Okay. Yeah. Fantastic.
That's Sunday night of next week. Yeah.
Right. About 10 days from now, or almost 2 weeks from now. Yeah. Okay. Super. How exciting.
Yeah. It's actually, I forget how effective this is when you set a goal with somebody else, because now I feel like I can't let Laurie down. I got to get
the magic of the social brain is what I call that.
Yeah, it's really good, isn't it? It's really good just to kind of say to somebody, this is what I'm going to do, and I'm going to let you know that I've done it, because then that's it feels like I've got a job on now, which is really exciting.
Yeah, good. Good. Well, it feels like we're complete with that.
Yeah, yeah, that feels really good. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome. All right. So I'm ending us now.